Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Ask Mike Anything, the time when you can ask me anything. Uh, it is Monday evening. That is the time we do that. Go ahead and type in the comments anything you want to ask me, from uh, personal things about life as a pastor to theology to anything really. That's I guess what anything means. Uh, and while you're typing stuff in and getting here, I'm gonna make sure that my sound is working properly. Let's see. Hey, look, it's working. All right. So, again, any questions, just go ahead and type them in. If you don't have any, I'll kickstart things with my magical decks of questions, and we'll see how that goes. And then when all else fails, we'll jump into my journal from when I was 10, because that's always a delight. Does my Advent wreath fit on my head? Is the question my dad is asking right now. So let's find out. A video just went up on the Revs page at 6 o'clock about Advent wreaths we made as a family, and I made one that did not turn out too well. But this is it here, and my dad wants to fits on my head. Not really, and it kind of hurts, but it could work. I bet one of the kids it would fit one of the kids, um, but not me so much. And if you do it in the right angle, kind of looks like Mickey Mouse ears. Maybe I don't know. Um, but there you go. It does not fit on my head well. But it was a lot of fun to make. You can check out that video on the Revs page or on my page. Just fun things to do as an activity and as a spiritual discipline for this year when we're really not meeting, yeah, in person. All right, Robert, who says the Thanksgiving blessings in your house? Uh, I don't know that we've ever made uh, a big deal out of who gets to pray at Thanksgiving. Uh, it's been my experience when we do Thanksgiving with Bree's family. Most of us around the table are pastors, and so we're all like, not it, uh, kind of thing. But I know lately, um, it's been Braley a lot of the time, and she kind of gets upset if she doesn't get to say the blessing when we get around the dinner table. Um, and hers is usually really quick. Dear God, thank you for this food, amen, kind of thing. Um, yeah. And I have a feeling this year it's probably going to be uh, Braley. On occasion, Michaela does it, and Braley gets upset, and we're like, "Well, you can pray again. You're not going to get in trouble for that." So, good question, Robert. Oh, what is your one thing that must happen for it to feel like Thanksgiving? Arguing, turkey, uh, and arguing about turkey. Uh, no, really, we haven't had it's been a couple of years since we've had a really full on, like, everybody gets together Thanksgiving. Last year, because there was no coronavirus, our household, me and Bree and the girls and Grandma Kathy, went to Niagara Falls, Canada for Thanksgiving, and that was a lot of fun. We are obviously not doing that this year, but yeah, I think what's going to make Thanksgiving feel like Thanksgiving for me is watching some football, eating some turkey, and yeah, trying to trying to rest uh, on a day midweek that's difficult to do these days. What is my favorite pie? Uh, absolute have to have on Thanksgiving would probably be pumpkin. Um, but absolute, like all time favorite, that's tough because I like pie. But the other one I always like but hardly ever get is pecan. I love pecan pie. Um, so yeah, like if I had a wish for Thanksgiving this year, and anybody at all was within earshot of me saying this, would be pecan pie. What drink goes well with turkey? Robert, what drink doesn't go well with turkey? That would be my question. Um, yeah, yeah, probably. For me, it's probably going to be some form of bourbon, um, but that won't be till the evening. Oh, Clarky Claremont, little Clarky. Favorite audience of one song. That would have to be New Mercy, my friend. Um, though I love them all. Though I got to tell you, uh, so those of you that don't know, Clark was the lead guitar player in a band I had a decade, 2 decades ago now, almost. And when Bree and I got married, she kind of Yoko Ono'd us and broke up the band because we had to move. And I tried, Clark. I tried so hard, man, when we got downstate to keep playing, going to coffee houses, doing the thing, but it just wasn't the same. Like none of these people knew me down here, down in Oscoda when I moved down, and every time I played a song and I introduced it, I felt like I was having to say, "I'm sorry, you guys don't get to hear me play this with my band. It's much better with the band." Um, oh, I miss you, Clark. I hope you're doing well, buddy. I really do. Most memorable Thanksgiving. Uh, right now, I'm gonna have to go with Niagara Falls last year. Um, I don't. Thanksgiving's kind of blur. Christmas is too when it comes to that. Uh, so yeah. And yes, Dory, anything. Ask anything. Um, and I know that's kind of could be problematic coming from you. Uh, oh yeah, Clark, man, are you still down in Texas? Is that where you're at these days? There's a delay, so I'll have to read your answer when you type it in. But I do miss you, dude. I remember one time, probably 2 or 3 years after we moved, we made it back up north around Christmas time, and Murray's, which is an Irish pub in town, had an open mic night, and wound up. I was there, my drummer was there, and my bass player was there, and so we did a couple. It was a lot of fun. Um, oh, Clark. All right, in Texas, in Denton, playing in a '90s cover band. That's got to be a lot of fun. Um, and that sounds like fun. All right. Other questions, or I'm gonna hit the deck here. We are in the would you rather deck right now. Let's see. Oh, that's an easy one. Would you rather have creamy or chunky peanut butter? For me, the answer is now and forever shall be creamy. Creamy peanut butter for me. Um, yeah. All right. Other questions. Don't hold back, folks. Braylee is doing well. Some of you remember she was on here last week. She broke her arm and then broke 2 splints that she had to be in while we were waiting for it to for the swelling to go down. And then finally on Thursday, which is a day earlier than she was supposed to, we got her in to get a cast on. And now, other than her not being able to, bend that arm, she's kind of runs around like nothing's wrong. Which even for me is like, that's a little too tough, right? Like I can be all like, yeah, the pain doesn't bother me. But still, I'm gonna take it easy. She's as soon as they were done with their online school stuff this morning, she was like, I want my jacket and coat and I want to go outside and play. And like they built snowmen the other day. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right. Other questions? Taking anything, guys. All right. Let's hit another deck while I'm hoping people are thinking and typing. All right. This is just from a regular deck. What is something that people are obsessed with, but you just don't get the point of? I would have to say probably the big thing I have not understood yet. I'm having a hard time with is the services where like you watch people play video games. Like I know there's some entertainment value. I know people like it. I know that. But I still don't get it. I don't get paying money either to watch people play video games. So, and that may just be that I'm old and upset that due to reasons beyond my control, I cannot have my own gaming channel since I have no gaming console. All right, tell us about Andy Song. He's an amazing pianist. He really is. And kind of like mysterious for me, right? So I have only known Andy since I started at Cherry Hill, which was 2 years in to me being in Ypsilanti. And so with everything, right, because I have 2 services on a Sunday pre-COVID, I would do St. Matthew's, leave, go to Cherry Hill. That breaks up and everybody leaves. And then we had our organist at St. Matthew's retire, and we thought, oh, hey, let's see if we can hire Andy because he's already rehearsing. It's essentially the same service in 2 locations. Let's do that. Let's do that. So we hire him, but still, St. Matthew's would start at 9:30. Andrew would show up about 9:27. And do the prelude, and then he'd leave, I'd leave, we'd get to Cherry Hill. So yeah, I don't know a whole lot. I know he's been playing for a long time. A bulk of what he does for a living is teaching others. I've seen him give one concert. He did a fundraising concert for St. Matthew's in Cherry Hill a couple of years ago, and the guy is ridiculous. What you guys see on Sunday morning from Andy is barely the tip of the iceberg of what this guy can do. Yeah. So my hope is to get to know him better at some point, but the way things are, it gets to be tough. But he is an amazing pianist. Do chickens have large talons? Thanks, Clark. I'm gonna have to say maybe. It's got to be a relative thing, right? Relative to the size of the chicken. What will finally break the internet? From Sarah Lynn. That's a good question. You know, I'd like finally break it for good, like a massive electromagnetic pulse that takes out all of the electronics in the entire world. What's the next thing that's going to take it down? Probably a concession speech of some type if it ever happens, maybe. I don't know. My most useless talent. That would have to be. That is pretty useless. And I don't even know if it qualifies as a talent, but I know some people who can't do that. So, Clark, what is the best thing on the Perkins menu? Oh, buddy, you know it's the chicken finger sandwich thing, right? Gotta be, right? Was it a buffalo chicken finger sandwich or chicken finger wrap or something like that? It's been a while since I've been to Perkins too. Their coffee was the worst, but it was bottomless, so that works. Hey, Clark, speaking of Perkins, do you remember? Yes, chicken tender melt. That was it. Chicken tender melt. Hey, Clark, my mom says hi. So you're going back to best thing on the, do you remember when we would go? This is the worst thing you can ever do. Don't ever do it. It's not the worst thing, but it's kind of gross. So we would go into Perkins, me, Clark, his sister, a few other people, and we'd order coffee or whatever. But like we would do creamer shots of the little creamer things, and then like seal them back up and put them back in the thing. It was horrible. Horrible. Oh, other questions, or I'll think of some more things that you didn't ask that you never wanted to know. Oh, I remember too. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but like took like a bottle of the Red Hot, the Frank's Red Hot or the Tabasco or whatever it was, and did the whole thing. That was a wild. That was pretty wild. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, if that was wild for us, what kind of sheltered place did we grow up in? Well, Michigan's Upper Peninsula, you don't get much more sheltered than that. All right, keep the questions coming. The serious ones too. I'm okay with serious ones. You know, it wasn't my brother. It was the Eileen Jorgensen's son. I think that's who it was. I can't remember his first name though. But it wasn't my brother, though he probably could do it. Mark, yes, Mark Jorgensen. Good memory. Funny story, not funny story, just story. His mom is the person who made the argument. The person who made the argument that made me understand why I should put the toilet seat down. And it had nothing to do, and all the way down, like the lid all the way down, and not because of anything to like, oh, just to be nice to the next person. No, because she told a story about her cat knocking toilet paper off the back of her toilet seat into the toilet. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm putting the whole seat down. That makes sense. I have cats. All right, who was better, Flip 50 or CSG? Flip 50 for real. And not just because the band name is still tattooed around my belly button. Yeah, CSG had some okay covers though. I'm not gonna lie about that, but But Flip 50 was for sure the better band. And I am so very sad that they're not making music anymore. Though I did, Clark, I saw, I didn't get to see him. I talked to him a bit. We were trying to get together and we were down in Miami last February before everything went kaput. We were trying to get together, but it didn't happen. Tommy Singer, good man, great guitar player. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yep. I do have to say though, I think I can't remember Mike's last name, the lead singer for Catholic Schoolgirls. I can't remember. Sadowski, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I do remember a party at my apartment once after a show, and him getting like the biggest, boldest CSG tattoo. Mikey Keystone, yeah, there you go. Him getting the biggest CSG tattoo on his stomach, and the band broke up the next day. And like everybody knew it was going to happen except him. It was horrible. All right. So on to something else. What's my favorite Grandma Kathy recipe? I don't know that I could pick just one. I would have to say most recently, when I was a kid, she used to make her own blend of sloppy Joe. But then like she'd make mashed potatoes and you put the sloppy Joe on top of the mashed potatoes. That is comfort food if ever there was comfort food. And she made that like a week ago because I mentioned that, I forget what she was making something and it smelled just similar enough that it struck that chord with me. And so she made it a couple days later. And in case you're wondering, yes, I did watch the football game between the Green Bay Packers and whoever it was they lost to. That I did not like that game. In overtime, ridiculous. There was weeping and gnashing of teeth in my house. All right, on to a card. Have you ever had anything waxed? If so, what? No, I have not had anything waxed. I did early on in the lockdown here in Michigan. Stumble across videos of people doing the nose waxing thing, where they like put the wax things up their nose and then like tear them out and record their reactions. I nearly did that just because I thought it would be funny. But no. My car. You want to know what kind of car? It's a 2016 Ford Edge. If you're asking about the state of my car, the state of my car is in the shop. They had a hard time figuring out what was wrong with it. So I'm back in a loaner for a bit. And then I got the call today. They figured out what it was. But the extended warranty I purchased when I purchased my car will not cover it. And it's like $800 worth of work. Less than a month after they just put a new engine in the thing, which it grinds my gears. I'm just going to say that. Yeah. So now I'm waiting to find out on the final price because I called the warranty place and they for sure ain't going to cover it. And so now I gotta fork out the dough to get my car running again. The good news is they already put the part in The bad news is I got to wait until tomorrow to find out the total. Oh, yeah, I've had my car waxed, but like not like the waxed that the thing was talking about. All right. Other questions? I'm grooving on these, but take more. If by chance you're wondering what's in the cup, that is a very large bourbon amaretto. Because I can. Oh, hey, here's a new development. So one of the things I have to do as part of being a pastor is continuing education. And it's been a while since I've taken a class. I've done my trips to England and the Holy Land. They have they count as some of that credit, but so now I've actually had to sign up for a class, and so starting in, as I look at the syllabi, starting in February of 2021, I will be taking a missions class at the Methodist Theological School in Ohio. And then after that, like March, like April, like in April, I'll start an ethics class. So I'm kind of excited about that, actually. And looking at the paper, or looking at the syllabus, the papers I have to write for Methodist Theological School in Ohio, or Methesco, not nearly as cumbersome as the ones I was writing at Garrett. And that's nothing against Garrett. I love Garrett. But when like the short papers you have to write are 25 pages, it's, yeah. Favorite board game. I don't really have a favorite board game. Chess, if you count chess as a board game, I like chess. And I'm hoping over this winter to be able to teach Bree and Michaela how to play chess. So that should be fun. And I'm working. I watched The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. Great movie, by the way. Even if you don't like or know anything about chess, it's a great series to watch. Not a movie. So check that out. That's a lot of fun. Favorite family activity. Anything with family is fun. These days, as it's getting colder, I have so the vast majority of the pandemic, right? So far, the only place that has been pretty much mine has been the living room, or my office. But if I'm in my office here, I'm working, and that's not very relaxing. But like apparently nobody in the house likes what I watch on TV. And so if I have the TV on in there, I'm pretty much guaranteed to be alone. And so I found this show called Forged in Fire. It's got like 8, 9, 10 seasons. I don't know. But I just found it. It was suggested on Netflix or something. And it's a competition where people use metal forges and make knives, and then like it's competition. They get down to the last 2, and they got to make some historic sword or something. And I start watching this. I'm like, all right, this is cool. This is a good mindless thing to be going on in the background of things. But now whenever it's on, everybody comes into the living room. The kids want to watch it, and Bree wants to watch it, and Grandma wants to watch it. And that's great. But the kids also like to play, and that kind of grates against me as they're trying to play it. I'm trying to focus on this, that, or the other thing. But yeah, that's a good that's a good activity. The other thing is if you watch the sermon on Sunday, I talked about Woody and Kleiny and how their stuff comes out on Mondays. That is a favorite of mine, to sit with the girls and watch that anywhere from 3 to 8 minute video every Monday and just laugh until it hurts. That is a lot of fun. And today's video did not disappoint. It was amazing. Favorite quarantine snack? Hey, Beth, how are you? I miss food truck nights because I don't get to see you even that little bit anymore. Um, favorite quarantine snack? Um, I would probably have to say I like the Baby Bell, the little circle cheeses and wax that you get. The Baby Bell Goudas have been a favorite throughout uh, quarantine. That and uh, a good, I think I did salt and vinegar Pringles for a while too. Um, but I've been trying to be a bit healthier uh, as of late. But good question. Oh, Beth. Beth, that is a great question. Um, it is a completely different worldview, a completely different quote unquote Christian worldview that allows that. Um, and in arguments with people about their beliefs these days are very hard to counter. Um, Mostly because uh, no one is really uh, no one is really dealing with trying to deal with fact these days when it comes to politics, when it comes to anything. We talk about Pastor Dan and I did a podcast maybe a year or two ago now about how we live in a post-truth era where truth, facts, um, in that case, are not as important as how people feel about a thing. And in some cases, that's not a bad thing, right? But in others, it is. And you can spend all day watching video. You could probably spend a week watching videos of people trying to counter with facts the the beliefs of people on the other side. Um, and it usually ends up with people just refusing to believe because there is no source. All sources are suspect now, um, and so it just becomes um, the waters are way too muddied. Which is why, for me, I think the best thing we can do is to try and find the common ground that isn't really debatable. Um, So, I've mentioned before on the election, I handed out water at Erickson at our polling place, and I didn't ask political affiliation. I didn't ask who people are voting for. I just knew if people were thirsty, they should have some water. Um, and I have a feeling that if you talk to even the most diehard Trump supporters, you will find that if you ask them, "Do you think thirsty people should get water?" Um, they're probably going to agree with you. And so finding things that are difficult to argue about, that are not that have not for whatever reason become politically charged is a big part of how we do that. Um, yeah, because it can't be countered. Though I did see a video today about someone who says the way to counter conspiracy theorists is with bigger conspiracies. And the the guy pretended to say, be a conspiracy theorist, saying, "Dude, coronavirus is only as it's just like the flu." And then he counters with, "Whoa, you believe in the flu?" So there's that. Yeah. All right. So how challenging, from my dad, how challenging uh, is it to perform weddings, baptisms, and funerals? I've done a wedding. I've in the COVID time, I've done a funeral and I've done a baptism. And to be honest, uh, the funeral was a bit easier than normal, as was the wedding. And the baptism was about the same, except I wasn't holding the baby. It was distanced. It was actually over a live stream kind of thing. How we have to rethink how we do things, but that's not a bad thing. I want to take weddings as an example on this. Prior to COVID, you could send out 200 wedding invitations, 300 wedding invitations, have 10 people standing up on each side, have two different have just a ton of things going on, that actually, if you really think about it, they take away from the event. Whereas the wedding I did was in this neighborhood, in the groom's backyard, the groom and bride's backyard, with, counting me, 25 people total. Everything mapped out and distanced, and it was beautiful. And they didn't go broke putting it on. It really made them think, okay, who would we hate? Who would we kick ourselves for not having here for this event? So that was really cool to see. And then it becomes about, okay, maybe later on, maybe in a year, maybe when things calm down, maybe when it's safer, we'll have a bigger party. But then it's not going to be the same expectation as a wedding hall with an open bar and all that stuff. Baptisms we've had, have happened. I don't like not being able to hold the baby. There's that piece. Funerals, the prep for a funeral is more difficult because it's all done via phone call or video conference. It loses some of that personal connection when you're not sitting down with the family to plan that. But that being said, the funerals that I've done have been okay. Just very much, small turnout, and people who you have to limit it to 25 people, and then the funeral home I usually work with here in Ypsi upgraded just prior to COVID to being able to offer virtual attendance through an online kind of system that works fairly well. So, do I have loved ones who are Trump supporters? Yes, I do. I do, and I still love them. And I understand where they're coming from. I don't agree with where they're coming from. But like anybody, they got to where they are at, to what they believe, through a journey they've taken that's different than mine. But that doesn't mean I don't love them. That doesn't mean I'm not called to love them. And if you were to ask them, they will tell you we have had spirited debates, and we have had times where we don't talk for a while. But not because I don't love them. I cut off talking with them because I do. And because I get to a point where I think I'm going to say something I'll regret later on. This last 4 years has been difficult, and not because of who's been president, but because of the divisions that it's opened up, of the realities this administration has exposed, and very much not intentionally, but they've done it. The reality of it's done it, and it's made things hard. Yeah. Have you ever performed a funeral for a child? My cousin's 15-year-old son died. Oh. Um, yes. Yes, I have. Both Bree and I have performed funerals for children. Um, it is devastating. I think most of you probably watching know we lost our son 7 years ago to leukemia. He was 19 months old. And to be honest, the funeral homes in town in Ypsilanti here, if they have a child who passes away, whose family doesn't have a church but wants a pastor, they usually call us because they know we've been through it, and they know they have learned how we handle that. And you handle it by naming it, by naming the reality that none of us want to be there. None of us want to be in a position where we are mourning the loss of a child. Nobody wants that. Nobody deserves that. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But you start from there. You start from acknowledging that's not where we want to be, and to be honest, that's not where God wants to be. And I try to move people away, and whether it's an infant, a 15-year-old, or 100, somebody who lived to be 100. I try to move people away from the asking why. Asking why doesn't help. I know when we lost Carl, I know I asked why, but I also know that if God had come down face to face with me and told me why, it would not have been enough for me to say, "Oh, it's okay." It wouldn't have been. Instead, I try to move to questions of where. Where did we see God in Carl's life? Where did we see God in that child's life? Where do we see God moving and working now, even in the midst of this grief, in the midst of this suffering? Where? Because when we look for it, we will find it. And it doesn't make it better, but it helps us to understand that God is still there in the midst of all that, in the midst of that pain. All right, Carrie Parent. Carrie, let me take this up before I read your question, and I can see it's a difficult one, but Carrie, thank you so much for the love that you have shown our family. The packages you have sent over the years have brought us incredible joy. To know that Carl impacted your life is just amazing. So thank you. When your grandson passed away during birth, I was beyond angry with God. How does one get past being angry with God and those that made mean remarks? First, I would tell you that it's okay to be angry with God. God is big enough for your anger. And it's not God's fault. Part of life is its fragility. And whether it's cancer or complications with birth or drive-by shootings or whatever else, life is fragile. I will tell you the pain you felt. The pain you felt is the pain you feel is evidence of the love that existed. Even if your grandson passed away during childbirth, there was still love, and that's a beautiful thing. I wanted when Carl passed away, I wanted to be angry with God. I really did. The problem was, is I knew that's not the way God works. God didn't take Carl from me. Cancer did. Life being fragile did. And it's horrible and painful. But when you stop asking why and start looking for the where God is, like I said, it doesn't get better, but it helps you to see that you're not alone. As far as people who make mean remarks about stuff like that, I want to hope that it's because they don't know. I want to hope it's because they have bad theology. We had people who told us, oh, God just needed another angel. No, God didn't. God didn't need another angel. That's not why he died. He died because he had cancer. And it was a cancer that was rare and difficult to fight. If people, others, not so much to us, but I know of others who have made remarks about how, maybe it was saving that child from a worse fate later on. It still doesn't make sense. The best advice I have for you, Carrie, when it comes to that, is don't let them live rent-free in your head. Somebody like that, making a statement like that, I would not have much to do with them. I really wouldn't. I would cut that toxicity out of my life. If you can't, I would work on helping them to try and comprehend the pain of that loss for you, which is impossible, but also to understand where their comments were not helpful. Yeah. I'm really sorry, Carrie. I did not know that part of your story. But thank you again for being a part of ours. And know that we will pray for you. Beth, you did give Brie a Sneetch. She absolutely loves that thing. It is sitting in her room, right where she can see it every single day. Star Trek or Star Wars, and why? I think we had this a while back, but I'll say I'm a both and kind of guy, and I know I have friends who think that's a cop out. But they are very, very different series. Yeah, and so I can be a fan of both, and so can you. If I had to pick one, if I am stranded on a desert island and I can only pick from one of those two, I'm going to pick Star Trek for no other reason than the catalog is bigger. So when you deal with TV and movies, there are more. All right. Any other questions? I'm going to pull from my last card from the decks here. Well, Beth, I appreciate you trying to lighten it up. This one is, if you could undo one moment in your life, what would it be? Just a moment. All right, here it is. Just a moment. It would be back in Bible college. I made a comment. Well, let me set this up better. It was my birthday. It was my birthday. I was in my dispensationalism class, which is a joke theologically. I was in my dispensationalism class, and we had this big project, this big chart we had to make, and it wasn't due for a while. But it's my birthday. I come down, and we sit three to a table, and my table mates for my birthday had wrapped my chair to the table in cling wrap. And this was apparently before I thought carrying a pocket knife everywhere I went was a good idea. And so I'm unwinding it, and then somebody tries to hand me a pocket knife, and they're like, no, there's stuff in there. So I have to unwrap this whole thing, and class is about to start. I have to unwrap this whole thing, and there are like little gifts and presents throughout. And I pull. I finally get it done. Lots of stuff. Everybody's looking at me. It's very embarrassing. This is before I got over a horrific fear of public speaking, all of that kind of stuff. And I sit down. Teacher starts the class, and he starts out by checking in on us to see how we're doing. And I'm kind of still paying attention to this stuff. And he's like, "How many people are a quarter of the way done? How many people are half of the way done? How many people are?" And I just shout out. I don't raise my hand. I just shout out, "How many people are saying what project?" And everybody in the class looks at me like death stare, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you just." And thankfully, my friend Bethany, who was a table mate of mine, she chimes up, and this is one of those things that replays in your head as you're trying to go to sleep at night. Sometimes this is one of those things for me, right? She says, "Give him a break, folks. It's his birthday," and everybody laughed and went back to focusing on the class. Yeah. So that's that's it. Going to have to Google dispensationalism. No, dispensationalism is it's so dispensational theology lines up with covenant theology, which is simply part of systematic theology that outlines the way God works in the world at different times. Covenant theology marks it between covenants. So the first covenant is the Adamic covenant, the covenant God makes with Abraham or with Adam. And then you have the Abrahamic covenant. Well, you have Noah, the Noahic covenant, then the Abrahamic covenant, then the Davidic covenant or Mosaic covenant, Davidic covenant, and so on. Dispensationalism deals not with covenants, but with dispensations or God's dispensing of grace in different ways and times. And it's just all around bad theology. But you can look it up if you want. It'll give you more details, but yeah. Favorite series right now. Favorite series right now is Forged in Fire. We're watching a lot of that together. That's nice. The big thing on Forged in Fire is they have this guy, and this is what the kids love, I think, more than anything. His name is Doug Mercaida, and he's an edged weapons specialist. And they're forging knives and then swords, and he tests them. And he tests them on ballistics dummies that have like fake human skeletons in them and fake intestines and whatever. And he tests these things and then tells the person who created it that it will kill. But he says it weird. Like he says, "Your blade, sir, it will kill." And the kids get a kick out of it. I get a kick out of it. Everybody gets a kick out of it. And a Kali martial artist. Thanks, Dad. Apparently, you watch. You watch Forged in Fire. Um, so yeah, and it's reality TV, and it's silly, but it's also it's just very compelling. I like watching stuff get forged. My buddy Corey, who's uh, pretty much my best friend in the world, but never watches anything I do on the internet. Apparently, um, he has a small forge, and he like makes knives and things, um, and so yeah, I like that. I've been looking at starting up the Crown, Beth. Um, oh, what will it take for us to have in-person worship? That is a phenomenal question. Um, a a a good vaccine that does not have long-term side effects. Um, a and or well, not and or we want to have a good vaccine so that people can be safe. The vast majority of our congregants are older, have pre-existing conditions, have comorbidities that would make an exposure just ridiculous. Um, so it's going to take that mandatory mask laws. Um, uh, yeah, it's gonna be a while. So so back in May or June, I had a conversation with our bishop, email conversation with our bishop, saying, "Hey, is it reasonable to project maybe Advent? Can we be back in for the start of the church year in Advent?" Um, and he said, "Well, maybe," kind of thing. And I'm like, "Oh, all right." And I start looking at numbers and watching numbers and watching vaccines and things that are being developed, and I'm like, no, it's not going to happen in Advent. And here we are in the middle of a big spike, or the start of a big spike, wherever we happen to be on that. Um, and it's yeah, Advent, Christmas, not going to happen in a building together. Um, so right now, my heart is wanting to say Easter. Easter would be a great day to come back, right? Easter's a great day for resurrections. But it really is gonna depend on vaccine distribution, um, and honestly, it's a I need to see Fauci take it. I need to see politicians, leaders, billionaires. I need to see the people who have the most to lose um, take it before I'm going to be comfortable. Um, it is hopeful, but unlikely, and it's just one of those things. You got to keep pushing the bar ahead and hoping for a date, but you have to be smart about it. Which is why uh, you will not hear me say we are absolutely going to be back for Easter, because I know there's a lot going on. There's a lot that can change. There's a lot that's gonna move and flow and ebb, and we want to be safe. Um, we want to take care of people. And I want to say to folks who may be thinking that, oh, you just like being online because you don't have to go to the building, folks. Um, I am literally burning the candle at both ends, and a little bit from the middle. Hey, Braley, show your cast. There it is. Hey, I am literally burning the candle uh, from every angle to keep things going. To make sure we have good online worship happening. This is not easy. Um, Prior to COVID, I wrote a sermon. I met with people, which feeds me, and is a good thing. And then I preached the sermon, and worship had a flow. There were people. There was live feedback. I could tell when people were engaged. Now I have to preach to an empty room. I have to try and make sure it's quiet so that ambient noise doesn't get picked up. I have to edit everything together. It is, Grandpa Mullet says, hi, sweetie. Hi. I have to make it, it is so much more work right now. So this is not staying out of the building, avoiding in-person worship right now is not 100% not about it being less work. It is considerably more work. In fact, we got a letter from the bishop today. I needed to kiss that cheek. Sorry. We got a letter from the bishop today, acknowledging that there are a lot of clergy who are near burning themselves out because it is so much more work right now to try and keep people connected, to try and do something that is meaningful. Thankfully, I have little ragamuffins like this one that help keep me from burning out. But it's a reality that that the work we do now, the work pastors are doing now to put stuff out is just exponentially more difficult than what we were doing before. And so if I'm not your pastor, but you have a pastor, seriously send them some type of virtual high five and thank them for what they're doing, because it is a difficult time to be trying to keep the church together and ministry going and things. Yeah. So, hey, Braley, would you like to hear what I read from my journal from when I was actually younger than your sister? From when I was 10? All right. Saturday, April 22nd, 1989. I had a lot of fun because I went to the Boys and Girls Club with my cousin-to-be, Ryan. I have no idea who that is. And I helped him make a birdhouse. So apparently an aunt or an uncle was getting married and there was a child named Ryan involved. But I have no recollection. Dad, if you have any thoughts on that, please email them to me. Sunday, April 23rd, 1989, I got to sit in the choir with my grandma and grandpa and tried to keep my brother Brad out of trouble. Any of you that know my brother Brad know that that is an impossibility. But shortly after this, I got to sing in that choir with my grandma and grandpa. That is a good memory for me. It's a great memory for me. Monday, April 24th, 1989, I wrote a letter to the president. It was fun to write a letter to the president. President at that time was, no, Brian is my cousin. Ryan was my cousin-to-be, Dad. I would not have mistaken Brian for Ryan. Silly goose. So I wrote a letter to President George Bush, Bush the First, and I got a letter back, and like I framed it, my dad framed it and stuff. I think I still have it somewhere too. I'd have to look in the basement. Thursday, April 25th, 1989. I went to the library and did my homework, but got some books. Went to the library and did my homework and got some books and did book reports. Wednesday, April 29th, 1989. I was very drowsy in school, but I did my work. Oh, next week, folks, you're not going to want to miss. It is a confession of love. Yeah. All right. Well, we are a little over an hour today. Thank you for joining me for Fun with Faith. This is not Fun with Faith. For Ask Mike Anything. Glad you're here. We're going to be doing Faith at the Movies again. Go to bit.ly/Faith at the Movies to vote for the movies that Pastor Bree and I are going to have to preach on in January. So go ahead and do that. And then join me tomorrow morning right here, same way you're joining me now, for Fun with Faith. It's going to be different. Pastor Bree has a funeral tomorrow in Ann Arbor, so she's not going to be with me, but we're going to be joined by my friend and mentor, Pastor Jeff Nelson. Will be joining me at 10 a.m. tomorrow for Fun with Faith. You're not going to want to miss that. I absolutely, positively love every single minute I get to spend with that dude. So yeah, hey, look, it's Michaela. Say hi.
Hi.
All right. Thank you for joining me, and I will have future Fun with Faith with these two rascals in it, where they'll answer some questions for you too.
Fun with Faith again.
Sorry. Oh, ask Mike anything. Oh my gosh.
Bye.
Bye. I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. Bye. You guys get to tuck me in tonight, okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Can they actually hear us?
They can hear you. Yeah.
Yay!
Bye.